welcome back. We're gonna explain wall in Revit, modeling different type of wall in Revit. Now when we say wall, there's two meanings for it, one structural meaning, one architectural. Now when we say wall, civil engineer, we think of shear wall or concrete wall, or you can think of the normal wall, which in Revit will be divided into two parts. They call them structural wall and wall architectural. Now structural walls, I'll just show it to you. Now when you have basement, usually we do the wall with reinforced concrete. It's a wall basically made of reinforced concrete. Or when we have shear wall. Now shear wall is an element that's used mainly for lateral force resistance. It's kind of a big column, you can imagine. It's a long column. It's very strong, resisting the lateral load. So when I create those types, so whether shear wall or basement wall or a wall which is concrete, we go for structural. If we want to do the normal wall that we have it, the normal wall, we go for architecture. Now, I'm going to explain the basics of them, then you will understand whichever you want to do. Now before going there, let me explain some detailing on the property. Now if I click on this column, any of the column, if I click on it, if I select the column, you'll see the properties change layers. Now, I need you to understand this information here. Now those four information, it says base level, I mean where the column start, top level, where the column finishes, the base offset, and top offset. Now this, what does it mean? Sometimes you have an object that does not directly goes to the level that you want. It's a bit more or a bit less. So you can use offsetting, in order to manage this problem. Now let's say I have this is the beam I have it, yes? And we know that this is, let's say, the top of the first floor I have it. Now this is first floor, this is the first floor. And there is the top of the foundation, we have it at the bottom. So I have top of the foundation at the bottom as well. Explaining something not related to the plan. Now this is top of the foundation, top of foundation. Now when we create wall, the wall, let's say that will start from the top of the foundation to the bottom of the beam, yes? Now, do I have any level for the bottom of the beam? Well, I can create it. I can add another level for this one. For each bottom of the beams, I can add a level. Or I will use offsetting, the top offset. So basically, this means that I will select this for the top level, I will select this one for the base level, but I don't want the wall to go to here, so we give offsetting. So it will be minus, for example, the height of the beam. Now why this is important? Because you may have different beam. Each beam there is 50, 60. You cannot add different levels there. You cannot. So what you have to do, whenever you want to do a wall, if the wall it's basically till the bottom of the beam, you will know the beam. So basically you can do the beam before, then you can do the wall afterward. Or it doesn't matter because the plans you have them, so you can add the wall by what? Using offsetting, taking care of the height of the beam. This is what we call offsetting. Now the base offset is basically if you want to start somewhere, not from here. So this is the base offset, whether up or down, you will offset this one up and down. So those offsetting means that the level you're selecting them. Look, if it's 0, it means directly will come to the level if it is 0. But if you have minus or plus, so whether it goes up, so plus, minus, down, offsetting it. Here the same way, you can offset it down and up in order to start somewhere that you want. This is used also for columns. Sometimes we have an inclined roof. So one of the column is like this, the middle column will come like this, and I have another column here. So I can specify the levels, but normally when we do level, we just specify like this, and we don't need to specify for each column. Let's say that there is another column here, there is another column here, each of them they have different height. I cannot specify all of these levels, so what we do, we give an offset to this column. Yes, they have the same base, for example, they have the same base, and we're going to give an offset to this column, will go higher. This is what an offset. Now before, let me just give an offset here. Let's say I'm going to give offset this one 50 centimeter to that one. Hit enter, it's already done. So it will automatically, will just offset it what? 50 centimeter to top. Now if I go to one of the elevations, I'll realize that look, this column offsetted 50 centimeter. Even though the top level is top of the second floor, which is here, but because we have an offset, it will offset from that one by 50 centimeter. So this is important in case if you have something which is out of the level, you don't need to add another level for that. You can just use offsetting to manage this problem. So I can put 0, I'll bring back to the original location. Well, let's say I'll come back to the plan, top of the foundation. I want to go and create wall. Now creating wall, I'll explain both of them. First, structural wall. So structural wall. When you click on the structural wall, we'll wait for the properties to open here and to see if you have a family inside it. Now by default, it's written generic. Now generic does not have any material. So if you open the list, you have different wall there. So even if it's architecture or structure, still have them inside here. The different type of wall we have it here. So what is the difference if I click on the architecture in that way? Let's say I'm just gonna press escape, sorry. So what will happen if I click on architecture? It's basically the same list I have it here. The only thing that we have it is the visual. Sometimes the architectural walls will not be seen in a structural template project. Since we in the beginning we opened the structural template. So sometimes the views made in a way that the architectural things will not be seen in a structural template. We'll explain these views when the time arrived. Now, for me now, so it doesn't matter which one you select, it's gonna bring you the same thing. So since we're working as a structural, we go for the structural wall. But it does not mean that I cannot place the architecturals. No, I can, but let's start with the structural wall. Now, as usually, you know that there will be something here. We have something here which is the modifying toolbar, and we have this screen which is also some modifying, and the properties, three places that we will use to draw the wall. Well, first we said that we have to specify the type of the wall that we have it. So there is different type of the wall, and you can see exterior 225 millimeter concrete, exterior 300. Those are, they have brick, different layer. We'll come back to them. But let's talk about the concrete one. So the one I have it here, this is retaining wall. Also, if you remember retaining wall, it's considered as a concrete wall. So I can select, let's say, exterior 300 millimeter. It doesn't matter, because why? We can change the thickness if it does not fit what we have. So select at least to be what? Concrete, yes? You'll go to edit type. You'll go to edit type. So we're going to duplicate it first, because we said that if you have something, let's say the one I have, it's 150 millimeter. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I will write it 100 or 200. Let's say I have 200 millimeter concrete exterior, or I can even write the name wall 200 millimeter concrete, or concrete wall. Even I can change the name to be nicer, concrete wall 200 millimeter. Now the properties here is different than the foundation. Now in order to change the width of it, you have to click on the edit here. It will bring you to this dialog or this window. Here you will see that there is different layers here. I mean, we can add layers. We're going to explain this one. Sometimes you have, for the architectural walls, you will understand these layers much easier. But for the structural walls, we don't care about the gypsum things for now. I can add it. For example, I can insert a layer. Yes, I can, for example, change this one to be what? To be a finish or membrane, thermal air layer. So I can do this as finish. I can change the layer. What is the material we have it here? Is it cement plastering, gypsum plastering? I can add another one. For example, I can bring this one down to be the bottom of it and choose the second finish. So I have two finishes. Or the thickness of the finish. For example, I can give 2 cm, 2 cm. One of them to be interior, one of them exterior. So there is different things that we can add it here. I will explain this one in a architectural wall. So just keep to a structure, concrete by itself, and I'll change this one to 20 centimeter. Because the one I have at 20 centimeter, press OK. You will see it here, it changed to the width to 20 centimeter. Now there are some materials by itself. We said that there are other information. I mean, the type of the structural material, what is it? Since we choose the concrete there, it's also shown here. So if I press OK, the material, I have it here as concrete wall 200 millimeter. Now, the same way that we did column, there is this two part here. There is this part here that you will specify. How would you want to draw the wall? It depends on which plan you are. And till well you will draw. So it will be divided into whether depth or height, and then the level you will specify it. Now we are on the top of the foundation, so I'm gonna say that since we are on the top of the foundation, I'll select height, because we're gonna draw from the top of the foundation to above. Remember, I say we're drawing above because this is the top of the foundation. So we have to draw above. Now then, where does it go? We're not going to till the end. For example, we're just going to come to the top of the first floor. Now, this is the top of so this is the base, and this is the top constraint. Basically, it goes from where to where. This is the base offset, and this is the top offset. Now, for the top offset, let's say that I know the beam size, I can reduce the beam that I have it. Or if it's exactly all of it goes directly, it's from this level to this level, so you're not going to give offset. Well, let's say that I'm not going to give offset here. What else we need to know? There is also some information here. Location line. You have wall center line, core center line, finish exterior, finish interior, core exterior, core interior. Now this is depend on how many layers you have it and how would you like to draw the wall that you have it. So the default one is by center line. What does it mean? Now if I come and click here, like for example click here, what will happen? Look at the wall. I will draw it by its center line. I will draw it by its center line. Now you remember we said the grid lines, architecture, place it in a way to be the center of the wall, yes? So I can draw it over the center line because I know the walls will be on the center line. Well, what if I have a way that, for example, my finish face exterior. So if I click here, what will happen? Realize that it will go outside of that, so that it will give it to somewhere. I mean, he gave it to the exterior, or you can let it to be interior, to come interior. So you're just simply placing by these things. Now you have two things: core interior, finish face interior. There is core, basically it's the structure. So the core interior, core exterior. Sometimes you have different layers, so you can even choose which layer to be on the grid line. Now for us here, I'll keep this one as a center line. Now this is chain, in order to draw more than one at once. So now the question is, shall I start from the base of the column, or I can start from the middle of the column? Now Revit has a property that will join similar materials together. So let's say I want to start from, if the column and the wall, they have the same material property, I can start from this center, I can come to this center, I'll click. For example, look at Revit joined the column with the wall directly. Why? Because it understands that both of them are reinforced concrete, and if they come together, they will be linked together. This is an important property for Revit, that you don't need to take care of these extra edges that where to start. No, you just simply draw the wall, and Revit will take care of the exterior. For example, I'm going to come here, and then look, for example, if I go like this, even the joint, it will try to connect them together. It will understand here, it will not be like the way that you saw it. So if I press escape, the columns, I had them there, so the wall linked to the column. So I press escape several times, escape. So if I go to 3D, just saving it. So on the 3D, you will see the wall linked to the columns. Now, if their material is not the same, sometimes will not be joined. If their material not the same, so they will not be joined together. In that case, we will teach you, if something like this happen, we can manually join the materials together. So this is what we have there. So it's already took care of the extra material inside here. Look, for example, look at the column. It's not going to calculate two material there. Now, if you check the colors, you'll realize that this material is different than this. And both of them concrete, but different grade of concrete. By the color, you can realize it here. But still, Revit took care of this one. Look at the column. What happened to the column? You realize the column, it's cutted. Why? Because there will not be extra material calculated there. So this is one of the property that Revit has, which will take care of the extra materials when you join things together. So this an easy way to place wall is. Now this is a structural wall. Now I can delete the wall. Now if I delete the wall, what will happen to the column? They'll come back to the same original place. So you don't worry about this one. Even the column was cut, but after removing the wall, it will come back to its original place. There is a second wall here. I can delete this wall as well. I will come back to the same column. Now, let's say I'm going to go back to the structural, but this time I'm going to add some layer to it. So instead of choosing just plain concrete, I'm going to choose one of these things. Let's say choosing this one. To see what do I have inside it. Yes, a basic wall. I'm going to go to edit type. Edit type. I don't wanna change this one, so do not edit directly. Look, there's a lot of information there. I'll duplicate this one. I'll say this is wall whatever one. I'm putting a name for it for now. My aim is what? To go to edit to see what do we have there. Look at the layers we have here. The core boundary structure. Look, between 5 and 6 there is a structure. Concrete masonry unit. It's a concrete block we have it there. A concrete block. And this is not a... I can change this one. I can change this one to what? To reinforced concrete. I can change this one to reinforced concrete. Yes, I can have a reinforced concrete and different layers around it. But this is made of what? Masonry, concrete masonry units, block, concrete blocks. Then on here, interior, what we have it, we have a gypsum wall board. So there is a 1.2 centimeter gypsum. This is 21.5 centimeter. And then damp proofing. Damp proofing is the black tar. It's kind of asphalt. We're using it for water, damp proofing. Then you have rigid insulation, you have it for the thermal. Now there's different layers you have it there. So this wall that we have it here, if I preview the wall, you'll see that there's different layers. We have it. Look at the layers that we have it there. So the layers we have it here, this is between these two. This is in the section, if you check it. So this is the gypsum wall. Then you have this one, which is the structure. So this is the, like this is the gypsum one. This is the concrete one. And you have this membrane, which is something very, doesn't have a thickness. Then you have an insulation, something that for thermal insulation. Then you have a void between them. Then at the finish, there is a brick, common brick, basically used for the finishing out of the wall. So here you can select the different layers that you have, and whatever is provided on the detailing. So on the plans, there will be some detailing regarding to the wall. Say the wall has this, this, this. So you can come here and select them the way they are. So if let's say that I'm okay with the layers, So let's say the thickness, everything, I'm okay with it. Now I can start placing the same way where we are on the top of the foundation, the height, top of the first floor, yes, but this time I'm going to use an offset. Why? Because these walls, not like concrete wall, they cannot go up to the level, they have to stop at the bottom of the beam. Let's say that between here, the beam is 60 centimeter. We know that if we have, let's say this is the slab, this is the beam, which is 60 centimeter. Now this is the top of first floor. So I don't want the wall to come to here. I want to take this 60 out of it to stop at the bottom of this beam. Later when we provide the beam, you will realize that the beam will come and sit over this, or they will just connect together. There will be no gap between the wall and the beam. So we have to take care of this beam, because the wall is supposed to be in a way that under this wall. So the wall under the beam is supposed to come here. This is supposed to be the wall. Well, in order to do this one, what we said, we're going to just take care of this one. You're not going to 60 goes up, you write minus 60 centimeter. Alright. So minus 60 centimeter. This is the top offset. So you start from the height, because we are on top of the foundation. It goes, for example, there. goes there. Let's say here, let's say wall centered line. So if I do with the wall centered line, look at here. If I do with the wall centered line, look, how is it? Yes. Now what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I don't want to do with the wall centered line. I can go with the interior. For example, the finished face interior. And I can start from this point. What will happen? Look, I'll make sure that it start, because the columns, the other end of the column is where the wall will start. Look what I used. I used finished face interior. Why I use finished face? Finished face. Sometime, I mean, like if I do finished face, let me tell you what's the difference between this one and if I use the core. So let me use the core as well to tell you what's the difference between those two. We have also core interior. So you have a difference between them. So I'll bring this one up to here. That's enough. So I'm going to press escape. Now look at here. One of them has a small shift because it was used the core to be there. The core to be there. Now, how do you know which of the layers? Now maybe I made a mistake, yes? Sometimes in here, where is the brick? The brick is outside, yes? The brick is supposed to be here, not inside. Let's say the brick will be outside. The brick will be outside. How do I know where is the brick? Now let's say I made a mistake, yes? You don't know it like this. So I'm going to go to the detailing here. The detailing here. I'll make it fine. Now you realize that the wall that we placed is the reverse. The gypsum is outside. This one is, the brick wall is inside. Now can you change this one? Can you change this one? Well, we have a way to convert this one, but if you made a mistake, it's easy. You just simply delete. Now, this is what the detailing will help you. So when you're drawing, for example, I did it without the detailing. Well, I draw it, seems to be okay, yes, but you have to make sure that it's okay. So the detailing fine will give you all the details. Coarse will just give you the general information. So go for the fine, and even here we can make it realistic. We can even see the coloring. You can see the coloring here. If you go for the realistic, you can see the coloring. So let's repeat the wall. Now this time we can see it will come back to the same thing. Now we realize that if I do it like this, I'll show for the exterior. What will happen? Now if you press space while drawing, what will happen? It will shift it on the other direction. So I will still go back to the same way I did it, yes? Still want to go to be in this way. I still want to start from there, but the layering that I have, sorry, not the core. Let's do both of them. One core, one normal. So let's do finish face interior. Now look at the layering here. I have it here. I'm not clicking. Just press space. It will turn it different way, yes. So I still have to later move it. But it's okay. At least this will be. Let's say I've done it like this, yes. Press escape. Another escape to get rid of it. So I can click on this one and then use move. I can just simply move this one back to this point here. Now, I could do this one in different ways, yes. I could do it, for example, if I know exactly where is this one, I could start from here and it will come there. But the idea for me what? Go back to the same wall. But this time I'm going to choosing core face interior. Now the core face interior, let's bring it here. Now I'm gonna move this way in a way that let's say I'm gonna move the concrete wall to this part. Now the idea here is what? When you're doing the wall, you have to know that whether the exterior part, which is going to be the finishing, is it going beyond the columns or they are with the columns here. Now in the normal plan that we show it to you, look, the wall, this wall, is on the center of the grid line, yes? Look, this is the wall, I just highlighted with it. This is the normal wall. This is the normal wall. It is on the center line, yes? On the center line. And those parts are what? The finishing part. So sometimes you have to be careful that when you're placing the wall, the core will be at the right location, and then the exterior, whatever the finishing will be above or out of the face of the column. Most probably this will continue, so that's why when we're doing this project, we're not going to bring this wall, because when we put the columns, we also go for architectural columns. We'll provide these layers there, then we put a structural column inside an architectural column. So there is another way that those layers can also come here, because sure, those layers are supposed to be continuing. So if I go to 3D, you'll see this information in a more detailing what will happen. So if I just try to off here. It's too much. So you realize that this is what we mean by the layering that we have it. Now still, I want to make sure this is fine in order to see all the detailing. This is what the layerings look like here. So sometimes those will come out of the column, or it's basically with the face of the column. If it is thus the wall, it might just finish with the column. But if it's an exterior finishing, you can have the wall, it's there. This one. This is different. We'll go for the realistic one. So, depending on the plan that you have it, will provide this one. So if it is just a normal brick, so you don't need to add the layers, you just simply remove the layers. If not, you will add the layers out of the column, because you know that if you have a brick, then outside maybe there is gypsum plastering, there will be gypsum plastering, or maybe cement plastering, you have it, there will be cement plastering on the layers there. So this is some information you need to know: structural wall and the concrete wall. So if I go to the, for example, the elevations, you realize that the wall finished where placed that 60 centimeter below the level. Why? Because we know that there is a beam coming here, so the beam when comes will come over here. Look here, you don't realize which one is right, wrong, unless from the other views or from the 3D view. So let's say that the way that we have it, or even the wall that we have it, if it is wrong, we can change these things. Now, sometimes in Revit, you don't need to delete things. For example, if I want to change this one, I can just simply click on it and change it to another type that I haven't. So let's say I'm going to change for something brick or something like this, or maybe just someone like this. So if you change this one, the wall automatically will change, but sure, you have to arrange its location to see where exactly it is. So let's say I'm deleting this one. We can just simply place just only brick. We can only just have brick. Let's say normally if you're just trying to provide a wall without the layers, still is possible. So we said that you go for the wall. It doesn't matter, you can go for architectural, but as I told you that due to the views, it's preferable to go for that. Let's say I'll just make this one brick. Then I'll go to edit. Let's say I don't want these finishing things. For example, I don't want this one. I will delete all of them. I'll delete this one. Even delete this. Sorry, delete this one. We'll change what? The layer, we'll change it to brick. So structure, we'll change this one to brick. You have here brick. Press OK. So I change this one brick. The centimeter, for example, 20 centimeter brick. So look here, I don't have any layer. I can add layers. For example, when you add layer, it's in the core boundary. You will move it up. You'll go to the top, and you'll change this one to finishing, and you will choose something there, whatever, gypsum plastering, gypsum board, whatever, outside and inside. You will specify. But let's say I only have brick, common, 20 centimeter. Press OK. Now you have just brick. So I can go with the centered line. Why with the centered line here? Or the wall centered line, core centered line, doesn't matter here because we are the same thing. So wall centered line, because you only have brick, and I know that those are this is the wall that we have it there. So if I go back to the 3D, we realize that we have the wall, and it's a brick wall. It's facing, the face is the same as the exterior face of the column that we have it. Now, this is enough for the wall. So you can, later we'll show it to you, you can add window, door to the walls that we have it. That'll be something else if you have time. Sure, we're going to show you those information as well. Thanks for watching.